Welcome to the Virginia Carolina Deer Tracts podcast. I'm Mike Davis, and I am here to talk about everything hunting, hunting land, and the great outdoors in both Virginia and North Carolina. Thanks for tuning in. All right, everybody, here we are back again, the Virginia Carolina Deer Tracts podcast. And man, we got a pretty cool one for you tonight. I've got a fellow Virginian with me, Mr. Zack Robb. How you doing, Zack?
I'm doing good, man. Pleasure to be here. How about yourself?
Man, awesome. Awesome. I appreciate you taking time this evening to be with me. So, man, we got a lot to unpack here, but let's just jump right into the main reason you are here. We're here to talk about, man, just a cool thing going on right here in Virginia that I don't think a lot of people know about. So let's change that. We're going to talk about the Whitetail
Perfect.
Roadshow that's
Yeah.
going on. What was it, August 16th, I think, right?
August 16th here in Stanton, Virginia. Right off 81 and 64 makes it really easy to get to from pretty much anywhere in the state.
Right on. So for those of you, I guess to help explain to everyone that doesn't know what this show is or what it's about, give us a quick rundown.
So at the conception of the Whitetail Roadshow, formerly known as the Mobile Hunters Roadshow, little rebrand this year, but the founder of it, Cody DeQuisto, he grew up in the bow hunting industry. And so he spent many, 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 many days and weeks and months working at trade shows that we all go to. And I'm guessing if you're listening to this podcast, you probably are a deer hunter or some form of outdoorsman. So if you've ever been to a trade show like the Harrisburg NRA Great American Outdoor Show, biggest outdoor show in the world, it's awesome. If you haven't been, I definitely recommend it. But the one downside to shows like that is it's very crowded. It's not very personal. And if you want to actually try some of the gear out, you really can't. And you kind of rush through the booths. There's so many to see. So what Cody wanted to do was bring a kind of more down to earth road show where we actually travel as a group of vendors to different localities. Me being a part of Lone Wolf and here in Virginia, I've had the pleasure of being able to bring it kind of near me here in Central Virginia, which has been really cool. And it's at the Augusta Archery Center, which has been super cool and letting us set up and camp and have a great time and shoot and all that. Shoot bows, I should say. But the whole basis of it is being able to get your hands on products from people like Lone Wolf Custom Gear, Vortex Outdoors, like all the binos and everything they carry. Hoyt Bows has partnered, even some supplement companies like First Form, Osseo Camo. If you haven't seen Osseo Camo, they are really hitting the market hard and coming out with gear that is really catered for what we do as whitetail hunters. It's a lot of niche market items like that are not in your average retail store that you would like to put your hands on if you were going to buy it. Even more than just the products, though, the show is about education in general. Like on the Lone Wolf Instagram, I do these tech tips for everybody. So it's little things like that where modifications that some of us guys might be making to our gear to make it system oriented for us that you would otherwise maybe mess around with your gear for 2 years before you thought of some little quirk like that. And it just makes it that much easier. Additionally, we talk tactics, and you're able to meet guys. I say that the roadshow travels, but it's really just the core guys that travel with the roadshow. And then all the speakers are drawn from local areas, that guys that have found consistent success. I hate to say, I'm that guy, but I was pulled for my area, and as well as several other guys like Brian Thacker, Meredith Brosnick, Garrett Benner from Maryland for the Virginia show. There's a lot of awesome killers that will come and share with you whatever you want to talk about that helps them get it done in the woods every year. Beyond that, it's just a great time. We have some fitness challenges, some archery shoots, a lot of giveaways. I mean, thousands of dollars of gear given away. Um, and it's just a really down to earth thing. We cap it at like 150 people. So, the trade shows you got 100,000 people running around. These are 150. And so the ratio is a lot better and you get out of it what you put in. If you want to ask more questions, we'll answer them. And afterwards we throw a party and have, like a barbecue cookout and camp with all the speakers. So it's a really awesome time. I try to hit as many as I can because it's just that great. It's hot in the summer, but if we're off on a Saturday in the summer, we're probably scouting the woods or fishing or something anyway. We're going to be outside, right?
Yeah. Well, a couple of things that really stood out to me as I, looking at the website and kind of trying to learn more about it. And you touched on this, but I really, I like the fact that it is a, smaller crowd, like you said. So it's just a much more intimate setting. Um,
Yep.
and it's a hands-on atmosphere.
Yeah.
So, like you said, I mean, the traditional outdoor shows are great. We got one coming up, a couple weeks prior to that in Richmond, the
Yep.
Virginia Outdoor Show, and I'm a fan of that. We work a booth there. I love that show to death. But this intrigues me on a different level
Right.
because of that. It's just got this kind of cool, kind of camping, archery shoot vibe. And as an archery enthusiast myself, that just rings all the bells. Like, man, I got to go
Right.
check that out. I want to be there. I want to be with that crowd. That's my people, and it looks like a damn good time.
Yep. Well, and I even learned things too. One of the guys was talking specifically about different oaks producing at different elevations, and I said, well, man, I honestly, if you've noticed that, I'm going to take your word for it because I've never even thought about it. So one of the things my good buddy Brian Thacker, him and Cody were talking about, and Cody said, well, you know what, Brian, iron sharpens iron. And so we're all there for the same reason. And whenever you get that kind of group of people together, absolutely that iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, and I also like that. And again, this is nothing against the other shows that
Right.
bring in the national celebrities and stuff, but the core of speakers, and it may be all of them, but at least most of them are pretty much all Virginia, North Carolina, Maryland. They're all right there,
Yep.
kind of centered in this region. So, we're going to be talking with people. Uh, that hunt the same terrain that we do, that deal with the things that we do, because
Yep.
Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Colorado, Montana, obviously fantastic hunting, but it's different hunting than what we do here. And
Yes.
sometimes it's hard to, I think, really translate or really apply some of the things you hear the Midwestern guys doing to what we deal with on the East Coast. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Having hunted Illinois 3 times, I can say 100%. Um, yeah, it's a totally different ball game. It's totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So having a local panel, um, you know, Midwest versus mountains, farmland, and we'll have a good blend of people. Like within, Virginia, we have kind of swamp areas covered. We have um, urban. Brian hunts a lot of urban stuff. I'm hunting mountains. We got to typically have a couple mountain hunters
Yeah,
because that
cool.
that draws a crowd. But we try to really get it diversified with people that have found success in similar areas to what you do.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think that would be, I mean, that's going to be the most benefit, the most bang for the buck.
Yep.
I think for the local hunters. Um, I think now I'm going to include all the links. I'll probably have one typed up on the screen right here when it airs. But I believe the website for the tickets is dyingbreedbowhunter.com. I hope I got
Yep.
that right.
So it's a little confusing at the moment, but if you follow along with the links, it should have a link that says for tickets, click here, and it'll take you to a page with the 4 different events. So this
Yes.
year we have Pennsylvania/Ohio. It's right on the border. we have Virginia, we have Georgia, and then Iowa. So you'll go to that page, and then whichever one works out best for you. I'll be at Georgia, Virginia, and Pennsylvania, Ohio. Not going to make the trip to Iowa this year. It was a blast last year. I highly recommend anybody that listens to this that's a fan of the Lone Wolf and Whitetail Addictions crowd. That's an awesome party. It's like I said, you got the best there. But as far as localized information, try to find the one closest to you and try to get there and hang out as long as you can.
Yeah, I've definitely got my eye on the Stanton event. I mean, I think that's um, I'd actually heard of the road show maybe last year. Did one come to Virginia last year?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We've been, I think, 4 years in a row now to Virginia, which has been super cool. Virginia shows up and shows out. Last year, I think the cookout after party of the year award went to Virginia, so let's keep that rolling.
Yeah, we got to keep
Um,
that alive.
yep, had some awesome food cooked around the fire. So yeah, it's a great time.
And if I understand it correctly, and don't let these books fool you, my reading can be quite suspect sometimes, but it looks like the cost of admission is $50.
Mhm.
And, you may think that's a high price tag, but when you hear what comes with it, I mean, not just the event yourself, you get a t-shirt. I mean,
You
hell,
get a T-shirt.
that costs you $20, $30 online,
Yep.
easy.
You
You
get
get
two meals,
two meals, right? You get lunch and you get the dinner afterwards.
and you're
And
entered into giveaways on. I want to say it's upwards of like $6,000 worth of stuff we give away at every event. I mean, we're talking Vortex rangefinders, Vortex binos, Osseo full camo setup, some First Form supplements, a brand new Hoyt RX9 bow. That's a $2,300 bow.
yeah, you give one of those
Um,
away at every event,
yes,
or
sir.
is it like
It's
all
at every event.
every event? Wow.
It's at every event. Yeah, I
And
mean, and then we throw down some of our lone wolf stands, which, if you haven't familiarized with any of those, if you like to bounce around and hunt mobile, which is kind of the name of our game, highly recommend looking at them.
heck yeah, we'll get into that in a second.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, for $50, I mean, I promise you, you can't go out to a store, buy a t-shirt, and eat twice for $50.
No
So
way.
so that more than covers the cost of admission right there. And then you go on, to enter to win, like you said, thousands of dollars worth of gear. You get the great seminars, uh, plus the camaraderie and whatever else good times going on, and probably make friends for a lifetime.
Yes,
So
sir.
so why would you not want to do this? That's the
Yep.
question. Why do you not want to go?
Yep. I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, I mean, it has been cheaper in the past, but this year we are supplying the food and a t-shirt. So that's why the price is going up. Plus each t-shirt is going to be, I think, event specific. So they're going to be limited edition. And the only way to get it, they're actually made to order. So if you buy a ticket, they're made for you. So
Right.
it's going to be really cool. And we hope people will start collecting the shirts and we'll see. I mean, we've had a lot of repeat guys that have been there, not only every year, but to every single road show. Some of the
Oh
guys
wow.
literally travel and follow it all the way to Iowa.
Well,
So
that's cool.
it's been really cool.
You're like the Grateful Dead of bow hunting.
It's right. It's right. Well, if you saw Cody, that kind of matches, honestly.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no kidding. So let's get into Zack Robb just a little bit. Um, you've got a nickname. Uh, they call you. I don't know I don't know who came up with it, but it fits. So you're called the Stache Squatch, which
Yeah.
is it might be one of the top five coolest nicknames of all time.
You know, yeah, there's two people that came up with that, and it wasn't me. I wish it was. The first one was my wife, actually. I had a silly Instagram name. I never take things too seriously. I think that's a bad way to go about life. Um, but when some of my hunts started getting aired on like Whitetail Addictions and all, I was like, all right, maybe it's time for a less stupid name. Only a little less though. And so I had the mustache, and a lot of my buddies call me Squatch for a long time. And so she came up with the Stache Squatch, and I was like, that's pretty funny. Well, like 3 days later, one of the guys that works for Osseo now, he said, "Man, you should change your name to the Stache Squatch." And I was like, "Damn, all right, well now I'm doing it." And ever since then, it has really been a thing. It's hard to say, but it looks super cool, and I got a sweet logo to boot. So
Oh yeah. Yeah,
uh,
if you don't have some cool archery Sasquatch mustache stickers going on, you are
I got
missing
him,
a hell
man.
of an opportunity.
I'm trying to. I don't have any right here, but I got them for sure. If you come to the roadshow, you'll get one.
Hell yeah.
I'll make sure of
That's
it.
cool.
Come and ask me. Yeah, no, it's been an awesome experience. I'm just a normal dude and bought one of these stands just like anybody else would. And I actually had a question, so I reached out to customer service and they gave me Andre DeQuisto, the owner's phone number. So I was like, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
Well,
don't know him, you need
right.
to look him up. He's a legend in the field. He's killed like more Boone and Crockett bucks than anybody with a bow.
Wow.
Literally, I've seen them and they're insane. And so anyway, I call, he answers, and we're talking. Solve the problem I was having, and he could tell, my brain clicks, and I do some mechanical work and build houses and all that. So I'm good with my hands. And he said, "Well, Zach, why don't you tell me about some of the modifications you've done to your stand to make it yours?" And I did, and we came up with a product in the first 5 minutes we were on the phone. So
Wow.
ever since then, we stayed in contact. And a few years later, I now work with them, not full time. I run a construction company with my family business, but I help them on the side with product development, product support, some social media and staffing stuff. So it's been a really awesome thing, and the networking that it has brought to me has been incredible. I mean, the Lone Wolf Gang is nationwide, and if I wanted to go hunt somewhere in Kansas, I got somewhere to go tomorrow. So it's been an awesome family, and it
Yeah.
really extends and starts at events like this.
Well, that's cool. One of the things that, or not one of the things, but like the main thing that I'm always promoting on this podcast is just the insanely cool hunting and outdoors and people that we have in the Virginia, Carolina area.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we get enough recognition or attention out there, comparatively speaking, with the rest of the country. So that's one of the reasons I was so happy and eager to get you on is that hey, he's a Virginia guy. So of
Yeah.
course, of course, we want to have him on the podcast, and I mean, obviously, it looks like you've killed maybe one or two deer just looking at the wall behind you.
Cool.
Um, it's okay if you hit them with your car. It counts. It's all
I
right.
killed it, right? I killed
Hey, any
it.
method necessary. But I am looking forward to seeing you at the show in person. I'm looking forward to hearing you in the seminar. Do you have a set format, or you just get up there and wing it? What's your plan on your seminar?
so so there's we've had structured formats in the past, and I think we're going to take it a little more relaxed, with like an outdoor segment where we'll all kind of be hanging out with our setups and going over things and letting people ask and throw it on a tree if they want to try it, something like that. And then maybe after lunch, I'm trying to remember, there will be an indoor section, or at least outdoor sit down section, where we'll go over some tactics that are really driven by I'll call them, attendees. They can ask their questions, and one of us will take the question and answer it to the best of our ability, and maybe go down the line.
Yeah, kind of a
We've
panel
even
setup.
had, yep, a questionnaire panel, kind of like a live interactive podcast, which has been really cool in the past. Some of them we've actually saved and aired, because some really good conversations come up when you
Yeah,
got 70 people all asking deep diving questions on what we all love. Then later in the day is when we do like a roadshow relay. They're world renowned, famous, infamous maybe. It's more like a fitness challenge.
Oh
And
boy.
then we also have some archery. Yeah. You'd be surprised, man. Some people really get into it. And then we have archery shot challenges, typically a couple of those, all of which can enter you for the prizes. And then there's also some random drawings throughout the crowd. So anybody that attends has a chance to win any of the items. And yeah, it's
It just reminded me, and I meant to ask this earlier. I know that some people are going to be camping there as part of this.
yep.
Is that a separate registration deal? Do you know, or is that just kind of included with the package?
That's included with the ticket. Is a I think at least for the Stanton show, we are welcoming people to camp. The Augusta Archery Club has been super generous to us, and they love having us there. And they extended their property for us to use.
Man,
So
that's
I
awesome.
know I think all of the stops allow camping for everybody without any kind of separate registration.
Now,
But
are most people coming up the night before, or are they just coming up that day and then spending that night, for
it
the actual
depends.
hunt?
It depends how far they're coming. We've had some people that traveled. I mean, I'm not kidding you, man. We had a guy travel 14 hours to Stanton last year.
Holy moly.
So if you're one of those people, reach out to me, and we'll make sure you get it squared away. It's hard to just have a free for all and let everybody camp because we're trying to get things set up and have it be kind of exciting for the morning and not show all our cards that night. Um, but definitely, if you're traveling a long ways and you need somewhere to stay, just hit one of us up.
Right on. So I want to go back to some of your hunting strategies a little bit, just
Mm-hmm.
from some of the other videos and podcasts that I've heard you do. One of the things that I found really interesting uh, was the height that you usually go on your stands.
Yep.
Constantly hearing people, um, and myself, I usually hang around the 18 to 20 foot mark. I hear some people talking about they're going 25 and 30 and all kinds of craziness. And it really caught my ear when you were like, "Yeah, I just kind of go just high enough to get above the Mount Laurel
Yeah.
and do my thing." So I just kind of wanted to hear your thoughts and hear you expand on that a little bit.
So I've obviously done both. I started, I'm sure like you probably have a Summit Viper, right? Or Goliath, one of the two.
Yeah,
We all do.
right.
They're great stands. They're big. They're cumbersome, but they're comfortable. Back in the day, yeah, I would go as high as I could. Um, but once I got into this hanging hunt setup with the sticks and the stand, I don't need to climb a perfect poplar that's straight with no limbs. I actually prefer trees that have limbs, and I use that cover to my advantage.
Right.
Whereas before, you'd have to get up. Well, everybody thinks you got to get 25 feet up, 20 feet up,
Right.
but
Well, that's
really,
what we
what
were
you're
always told. So that's what you got to
right,
do.
get up out of their sight. Well, really, what you're doing is if you're not careful, you're completely skylined.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right. Yeah.
it's hard to think about that. But if you walk outside and you look at the woods, you look 25 feet up and there's in some cases no brush behind you at all. And if how good do we pick up movement? Really good. Well, deer's like way better than us.
Yeah.
So if they catch in their peripherals, which I think their vision is like 340 degrees, they can
That's a
see
lot.
it's something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Um, the chances of you being able to move, even if you're way up high, is slim to none. So if you're able to just be still anywhere, you're probably okay. But having all that cover behind you or in front of you or to the side, whatever, if you can kind of blend yourself in with the natural canopy, which I have found the best area for me is in that 8 to 12 feet. There's kind of if you look out in the woods, like I said, there's a lower canopy. Now, if you're in like a pine forest or a poplar, haven, whatever, it maybe there's less of that. But
Right. Yeah.
generally speaking, where I'm hunting in the mountains, there's a ton of laurel, there's a ton of briars, and there's a bunch of I would say, that almost saplings, kind of at the 8 foot height, and then you got the lower branches of all the trees too. So looking across the woods, that is actually a thicker area than up high. There's a gap in there. So if you're putting yourself in the gap, sure, you'll have great shooting lanes, but they're going to see you.
Yeah.
Now the other thing with that is I'm not hunting, open feed areas either. I'm hunting, tight thickets and trails, which is a whole different animal. You might see less deer, but if a deer comes through there, you're going to have a shot on it at close quarters. I got videos I can post with you from this past season. I had great encounters this last year, one of which was a nice buck that I passed due to the earn a buck system we have. And I regret that. That was a stud. And I had him at like 5 yards. And that case, I was only 4 feet off the ground. I mean, I was
Wow.
just in the tree just to be able to shoot over a bush.
Wow.
Um, and just being able to, I mean, you can hear these deer breathe. That is exhilarating to me.
Oh man, man, getting up close and personal like that. I
Yeah.
mean, that's
Yeah. Super
my,
cool.
the hair on my arms is standing up just kind of thinking
Yeah.
about it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I
No,
mean,
yeah, that's a cool perspective, and one that we don't hear a lot, but it makes when you say it, when you think about it, it makes perfect sense.
it's
Uh,
worth trying.
yeah, and yeah,
And if it's not for you, then do what makes you confident. What it's allowed me to do is carry less sticks.
yeah,
So I'm more efficient climbing the tree and got less weight hiking up and down these mountains. So all that's beneficial to me. I have not found a scenario where I felt like, man, if only I had 2 more sticks, I would have killed today.
yeah,
So that's been the good thing. I can typically find something that fits what I want to do. Now I will say, this guy right here, I was 18 feet right there.
yeah,
So like I've been there, and there's definitely a time and a place. If thermals and wind are not doing you any favors, I have heard that can help you. Um, the other thought there is it's spreading out your scent cone even further. So there's multiple ways to think about it.
yeah.
Like I said, I've never been busted per se because of my height. Maybe I did something stupid, but it's never,
I have done plenty of that, no matter what height I was at.
yeah, for every one of these on the wall, there's 12 that are running around
Yeah,
still.
that's right.
So
That's right.
that's how you
Well,
learn.
yeah, well, I think kind of circling back to what we were talking about before about having the local or regional panel at this event. This is the kind of real world strategy that has real applications in Virginia.
Yep.
And I think that's just another on top of all the other pros that we've listed for this event. That's one of the ones that really stands out for me is that local tie-in. I think that a lot of people are just going to walk away with a lot of great knowledge from that.
Yeah. We've had great feedback. And we use, you know, like we have consistent customers or repeat customers. If they have feedback, man, we're not afraid to say, oh, that's a good idea. We'll throw that in the mix for next year. So it's really customer driven, just like our product line too. Honestly, I mean, a lot of tweaks are made every year to these products based on what consumers think they want. So it's very receptive. Um, Everything we do.
Yeah. Now, are you saddle hunting or are you just hang on hunting or both?
So I use a hang on. It's actually let's see, I got one right here. It's a small. It's really small. So I mean, it's pretty small. Hang on. This thing, the way I got it set up, I think is like 6 pounds.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
really light. There's saddle hunting is a hot topic. Do you saddle hunt?
I'm getting into it. I have not done it, but I got my first little setup there. I'm going to start practicing with it here in the next couple weeks.
Yep. So I use this, but I use a saddle as my harness, and I'll put the tether at waist height and have it kind of tight around my waist, coming off to my bridge on my side of my hip. So I have very little slack, whether I'm seated or standing. And then if there's a kind of an awkward shot behind the tree, I can actually just spin around and lean into my saddle and kind of lean out. Now, with that said, I really prefer to just sit in my stand. But I have the versatility of that saddle as well, which I've really liked. So we call that hybrid,
Yeah,
right?
well, that's exactly what I was getting ready to ask you about, because I know I think one of the stands was even called like the hybrid
Yep.
point
And
five or something
that's,
like that.
I got that strapped on the table here, but it's so we have this point five that's 5.5, 6 pounds, depending on how you have it set up. Saddle platforms are typically 3.5 to 4, 5, even 5 pounds. So you're not really taking a whole lot more weight. It's a whole stand, and ours integrate backpacks and all that. It's a whole system, which I can't wait to show everybody. But
Yeah.
um, the saddle, our Ranger hybrid saddle, is the same thing, but it doesn't have the cables that tree stands have. So the platform's a little shorter. The platform's a little more robust, so that we can get away without having cables. But you kind of have to pick and choose what you want to do. If you think you want to sit in your saddle and lean more, you'd go with the one that looks more like a saddle platform. If you're going to do kind of like I do, where you use the saddle in an instance where you need it, and you're mostly going to be sitting or standing, you get the point five or any of our other tree stands, and you can do that. There's benefits to everything, but I will say, doing the tree stand, I only need enough room cut out of a tree, like cutting branches, for that stand and my torso. A saddle, you kind of need to cut a whole ring around the tree so you can maneuver yourself to get a shot off at your whole body height. So there's definitely things to think about. But I'll tell anybody, if you're thinking about getting a more mobile setup that packs down, it's not even about the weight. I'm a big guy. I can handle, rucking some good weight. But the packability, to not get hung up in briars and laurel and all that, is everything. So one of these kind of styles of saddle or micro stand like this one, and just getting your setup as compact as possible to make your walk-in easier is everything.
Yeah,
So it's definitely worth trying.
I really like the I don't know what you call it. It's almost like a profile thing, a low profile thing where
Yeah,
the stand's not, sticking out a foot on either side and
right.
sticking up 2 feet over your head, and you're hanging you know, every branch within a mile, you're hanging that sucker.
You're
Um,
cussing and tripping and sweating. Yeah, this is really, I hunt mainly thickets. I mean,
yeah.
people say the thicker the better, and then they hunt open oak flats. I'm in some thick, nasty stuff,
Yeah.
and it really, it works.
Yeah.
That's where they like to hide.
No doubt about that. And I love the hybrid concept
Yep.
as a person who's, curious enough about saddle hunting to start to I don't know, flirt with it almost, I guess you'd call it. But always been more of a more of a hang on kind of hunter. So I like the idea of being able to, like, well, I mean, I can do the saddle thing, and if I start
Yeah.
getting uncomfortable or whatever, and I just kind of want to turn around and sit down for a minute, kind of hunt hunt the way I'm used to hunting, and I can kind of rotate back and forth. I mean, that is very appealing to me.
Yep.
I'm really digging that, and I really can't wait to kind of see that set up at the show there.
Yeah. It's been really popular. I definitely didn't start it, I don't think, but I've been on the forefront of it for the past 3 years, and it definitely seems to be a big hit with people. Every time they see it, more and more people gravitate towards it. I mean, there's a lot of pros, and I haven't really found any cons. Like, with the full body harness, if you have to change layers, that sucks.
Yes.
And I hunt mountains, and I sweat like a pig.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah.
having it just around your waist, you don't have to take the whole thing off and put a sweatshirt on and put it back on. You just throw your sweatshirt on and you're good to go.
Yeah. That's a good
So
point.
it's a lot of little little things like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hang on here. My computer's trying to restart on me. We don't want that happening right
Oh,
now. We don't need a Windows update right now. No, thank you.
no, no, no.
Um, I want to talk about the whitetail addictions a little bit, which is another, I guess, spinoff of the Lone Wolf brand. I
Yep.
guess I hope I'm saying that correctly or describing it correctly. Um, but that's kind of I guess y'all's YouTube version or whatever of kind of, kind of the actual hunting experience.
Yeah. So Whitetail Addictions was started, I think, well over 20 years ago. So I was 10, but I was not contributing then. It it was really set to capture the hunts of, not, nothing against the Real Tree guys or, Lee and Tiffany. It's self-filmed by blue collar dudes that really have just a whitetail addiction. And it was the first of its kind. And it's really blown up since then. YouTube wasn't out then.
Right.
Um, so all the hunts used to be on DVD and on TV, but it was literally blue collar dudes that just can't get enough of this, and they self film their hunts and they get it done on hammers every year. It's grown in the last couple of years as it kind of got repushed and resurfaced, and the same veterans came back out, and then they brought in some young guns like me and gave us a chance. And we make what we can, and every time I have an episode come out, it's like, well, I should have done that different. But we don't have a professional camera crew or production
Right.
crew. This is as raw and real as it gets. Hunts are aired kind of leading up to season, one a week usually. But it's been an awesome thing to be a part of. And yeah, so it was started through Lone Wolf, kind of as Lone Wolf's show. It has since grown, and there's been some other sponsors added to the mix. So it's starting to take off, and but we're still raw and real and self filmed with, like, a lot of us. I use a Samsung Galaxy to film my hunts. That's a whole other subject. If you want to get into filming your hunt, it's never been easier. I think my camera arm is also made by Lone Wolf, and it fits in your pocket. It's with a phone and that. There's really no excuse not to, other than you might mess up your hunt. But
Yeah.
at least you'll have it
It's
on
it's
film.
a I started myself trying to get into the self-filming, I guess maybe going on about 2 years now. And it's hard.
Yes,
It's a
yes, it
whole,
is.
especially for the bow hunting. I mean, it's a whole nother element of movement and trying to be in the moment, trying to capture the moment without blowing the whole thing up.
Yep.
It's
It's
just damn hard.
Yeah, it's hard enough as it is with a bow,
Yeah.
to get drawn back and focus on your shot, but then to also have to look down and make sure you're in the camera. Yeah, I messed this one up. If anybody's gonna watch the video, it's still a good video, but I definitely missed the kill shot. I think yeah, I was freaking out. That was a bump and dump, actually. If you're not familiar with that, I jumped him on my way in. I jumped a group of does and I saw him slip off with them. And I set up, got face paint on, did an interview, and he came back 15 minutes later and I thumped him. So I was shaking like a leaf as he was coming back in,
Yeah.
and I double pressed the record button, so it went on and off.
Oh
And
gosh. I
and the
have been
worst part is
guilty of
that,
that.
yeah, dude. And I watched him fall on my camcorder. He died 20 yards from my tree, and I watched him wobble and fall. And I was watching it through the screen on my camcorder. I was like, man, I
Great
did it.
footage.
Yeah, great footage, great footage. And to this day, I think that's what I did. I don't have video though,
Yeah.
so it's a lot to pay attention to. But it's super rewarding. And there's so many hunts that, looking back on, it's a lot of fun to
Yeah.
just look back on some of your footage.
Well, I mean, and and that was really the reason, or I guess the main reason I got into it was just to really go back and watch and analyze my own hunts.
Hmm.
I had a couple years where, man, I don't know if it was poor shot placement or what, but I just lost several deer, never
Yeah,
recovered them. and it just made me sick to my stomach staying up at night trying to
Oh
replay it.
yeah.
And I was like, man, if I had video, I could actually go back and kind of see where the hell I hit this thing and what went wrong or
Right.
whatever. So that's kind of how I started going down that rabbit hole, and I continue to go down it every day. But I was actually going to ask you, about the equipment, because you know, because yeah, I just kind of use a phone. I've got a GoPro or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I used to mount the GoPro on my bow, and that does okay for inside of 20 yards, I guess.
So, all right, this thing here, I got an Insta 360 X4 last year, and I mount this to my bow, and it is some of the coolest footage ever. Because in editing, you tell it where to look. When you film, it's filming in 360 degrees
Oh
all
wow.
the time.
Yeah, I've heard of
And
those.
so when I'm editing, I can pan around at what I want to look at. So like it's super cool. I have it on my bow and I'll have it looking at my hand as I reach down to grab the bow and pick it up. And then it like zooms in on the cam as I draw back and then goes forward at the deer. And I know what you're saying with the GoPro, it vibrates a lot with your shot and you can't see anything. With this, I don't know how they do it, but it is dead still.
Where are
Um,
you mounting it to the bow or to the stabilizer or what do you?
I'm mounting it, so I shoot a Hoyt RX8, and it's got the carbon kind of ring off to the side, and I just mount it right to that. This clamps.
Oh man.
So I have this arm, so it adds weight, but I don't care. I'm shooting deer at 7 yards. It's okay. Um, yeah, that with the camera arm on the front or on a tree, this is a great backup,
Yeah.
and it gets a lot of cool shots, kind of building up to the shot in the
Yeah.
moment. Um, so this is not cheap, but everything else is pretty cheap in terms of where camera gear used to be and what it used to take to film compared to now.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. Well, man, this has all been pretty cool. I feel like a dummy for really not even knowing more about the Whitetail Roadshow until just a week or two ago. Like where
Yep,
the hell have I been? Um, but
that's on us.
well, I mean, I get what you're saying, but hopefully this will help get the word out even just a little bit. It's certainly got my level of interest very high. I've already been just, talking about, hey, have you heard about this? Have you heard about this thing? This sounds pretty cool. So, um, is it solely archery or do y'all get into any other kind of stuff?
So yeah, I mean, a lot of us primarily archery hunt, but nobody's against rifle hunting, and the tactics still apply.
Right.
Um, so yeah, there's archery challenges, and most of us are all about that close quarters. But you can get close, you can probably get within 100 yards, right? So the tactics will apply just the same. And most of the attendees rifle hunt in addition to bow hunt. Just like anybody, it's going to be out there in the woods as much as they can, whatever season it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, no knocking rifles at all. Bring your don't bring your rifles, but
Yeah, let's
but
keep
but
those
you
at
know what I
home.
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can stay at home, but yeah, no, absolutely, it'll all apply.
Well, outstanding, man. Is there anything else that you want to mention or that you want to cover about this that we haven't brought up?
Um, no, I don't think so. I just really hope I get to see meet a bunch of new people and some of the same faces. And if you haven't, throw me a follow and not that I care, but send me a message. I'd love to chat with you beforehand and then get to shake your hand at the show.
Yeah, right on. So where can folks find you, Zach?
Pretty much Instagram at the Stache Squatch, Stache period Squatch. My Facebook is fairly personal. I leave that kind of for family.
I got you.
But Mobile Hunters United is a Facebook group that was started by the Lone Wolf guys 6 years ago. I've been kind of at the helm of that, and it's grown exponentially, and is another great platform for tactics and showing off deer and gear and whatever else you got. So check
And
out
that's a
Mobile
Facebook
Hunters
group?
United. Yeah, Mobile Hunters United.
Well, cool.
And yeah, I'm pretty active on there. You know, and like a lot of the whitetail addictions guys are on there too. So it's kind of a cool place you can interact with all these people that maybe you've watched a show or whatever. And there's some other big name guys that are floating around in there too that a lot of knowledge to be shared.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'll probably be on that before the night is over.
All
Um,
right, that sounds good.
yeah,
I'll try to. We all got jobs and families, so sometimes the Facebook moderation goes to the back burner, but we try to get everybody in and moderate as best we can and get to it when we can. But yeah, man, I'd love to speak to everybody. Obviously, this is a passion of mine, and I like talking about it.
well, cool. So for everybody out there, you can follow Zack. Sounds like Instagram is the spot to really uh, get up with him on the hunting stuff. You've got the Whitetail Roadshow, but to get the tickets, you have to go to the dyingbreedbowhunter.com website. I believe I know you can get the tickets there. I'm just not 100% sure
Yep,
that's the only place. But that's run by one of the son of the
yep.
wolf.
That's run by Cody DeQuisto. That's his brand, his Dying Breed Bow Hunter.
Yeah,
And yeah, there's a link on that page, like on the main page for the road show. You'll click that, and I believe there's where a link is for ticket purchases. But that's kind of the overview of the road show and some
it's
pictures
it's
and all.
it's there. I've seen it. I know it's there.
Yeah, yeah, I've
And
looked at it several times. And then in addition to that, if you're on YouTube at all, check out the Lone Wolf Custom Gear YouTube channel. That's where a lot of different stuff goes on, but all the Whitetail Addictions shows, there's a lot of old shows too. So there's many, many, many hours of awesome raw and real bow hunting episodes aired there from all different people on the team.
yeah, so yeah, you got the Lone Wolf Custom Gear YouTube page. I mean, you've got the Lone Wolf Custom Gear website. If you're
Yep.
interested in checking out the gear. And man, I can't say it enough how excited I am to come up there to see the Whitetail Roadshow, just to be a part of it, just to hear the stories, meet some new folks, gain some great knowledge, and learn about get some hands-on knowledge of the product. I just think it's a win-win. And we've already talked about the value trade-off, man. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, so
Yep. And you're going to get discounts on all these exclusive brands at the show too. So that's another little bit in the hat there.
yeah. So you are limiting it to like 150 people, is that right?
Yeah, 150, 200 depending on the venue, but yeah, it is limited tickets.
Yeah.
So
So
if you're available or not available, make yourself available because it's going to be a good time and get those tickets as soon as you can.
yeah. So I know how you are, people out there. You're gonna wait till the last minute. So I'm telling you right here and right now, don't do it. You may miss out, and you definitely do not want to miss this. This is a cool, everybody talks about there's nothing to do around here and all this kind of stuff. And this is right here in our backyard, right here in Virginia. A super cool event put on by super cool people. And man, if you don't go do it, man, you're just missing out. And maybe you'll see some of the cool stuff we do up there. Listen to me, I say we like I'm already a part of it, but you know what I
You're
mean.
going to
So
come. You're
hey,
there.
so and you know what, man, I hope it blows up into something great, and it goes on every year. So I'm looking forward to coming up there and being a part of that
Yeah.
experience.
We've been lucky to have it in Virginia 4 years now, but yeah, I mean other states are begging for it, so don't take it for granted because this may be the last time it's this close to home.
That's right.
You never know.
That's right. Absolutely. So Zach, man, I can't thank you enough. for taking the time. I know you're busy, full-time job plus all this other stuff, man. So, it means a lot that you took time away from your family just to spend a little time with me tonight, man. And I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed it. It's been a great conversation, and I look forward to just continuing this conversation as time goes on, man. I look forward to getting to know you more, man, and heck, do more podcasts or whatever, man.
Yes,
Just looking
sir.
forward to it.
Absolutely. I love having another local. I'm sure there are a bunch of podcasts around in Virginia, but doesn't seem like Virginia gets put on the map a whole lot. So I love seeing that.
100% agree. That's why I do it. Like, hey man, we got things to talk about too. We got cool
Yep.
stuff. So
Yes, we
man, I
do.
appreciate it. You have certainly enforced that. And welcome to the family is all I can tell you.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Right on. Right on.